Picture this: 10 million lives, 10 million stories, 10 million dreams, all hanging on one decision in Washington, D.C. That decision? Senate Bill 2999. And trust me, this isn't just another headline you scroll past. This bill could become the turning point that millions of immigrants in America have been waiting for. Now, let's be real. Immigration reform has been promised before, right? We've all heard big talk from politicians, seen the debates, watched families hold their breath, only to be disappointed again and again. But here's the thing: this bill is different. Why? Because it directly targets the needs of over 10 million immigrants, offering something that has felt impossible for decades: a real chance at security and stability. Imagine not having to live in fear of losing everything you've built. Imagine being able to work, study, raise your kids without that constant weight of uncertainty pressing on your shoulders. That's what Senate Bill 2999 could unlock. But here's the catch: politics. Nothing comes easy. So in this video, we're going to break it down for you. Who qualifies? What benefits could this bill actually bring? And maybe the most important question: what are the chances of it actually passing? Because if it does, it could rewrite the future for millions. And let me tell you, this is personal. If you're an immigrant, or if you've got family members fighting every day just to stay in the country they call home, you need to hear this. Because what happens in the Senate right now could decide everything. So stick with me, because we're about to get into the details, and by the end, you'll have the clearest picture yet of what Senate Bill 2999 really means for you. But before we dive in, hit that like button. Not just for me, but so this video can reach more immigrants who need to know what's at stake right now. All right, so let's dive into it. Senate Bill 2999, it sounds like just another number, right? But for millions of immigrants across the United States, this number could represent the biggest turning point in decades. Now, here's the thing. Immigration reform is one of those topics that's been kicked around in Washington for years. We've heard promises, we've seen debates, and too often, nothing really changes. Families keep waiting, workers keep worrying, and kids keep growing up in uncertainty. But this time, something feels different. This time, the stakes are higher, and the conversation is louder. Senate Bill 2999 is more than just another piece of legislation. It's a chance, maybe one of the last big chances in this generation, to reshape what it means to belong in America. So, what's actually in this bill? Let's break it down in a way that makes sense. At its core, Senate Bill 2999 is designed to provide a pathway to stability for nearly 10 million immigrants who have been living here, working here, raising families here, sometimes for decades. We're talking about people who contribute every single day, who pay taxes, who build communities, but who, because of their immigration status, have lived in constant limbo. This bill aims to change that. It opens the door to legal status for millions, which could eventually lead to something even more powerful: permanent residency, and down the road, citizenship. Now, let's pause here for a second. Because for many of you watching, this isn't just a policy debate. It's about your life, or the life of someone you love. Maybe you've been in the United States for years, doing everything right, contributing to society, but still feeling like your future could disappear with one letter in the mail, one knock on the door. Maybe your children, who were born here, live every day with the fear that their mom or dad could be taken away. Or maybe you're a young immigrant yourself, going to school, working hard, but never sure if the opportunities you're chasing will really be there when you need them. This bill touches all of that. It represents hope in a way that's not abstract. It's real, it's concrete, and it could make an immediate difference. But of course, nothing in politics comes without a fight. The big question is, will Senate Bill 2999 actually pass? Now, here's where things get tricky. Immigration has always been one of the most polarizing issues in America. You've got people on one side pushing for compassion, inclusion, and recognition of immigrants' contributions. Then you've got people on the other side who argue about security, costs, and control. And somewhere in the middle, you've got millions of families caught in the crossfire. That's why bills like this often get stuck. They become bargaining chips in bigger political games. Still, there's a reason to be cautiously hopeful this time. Support for immigrants has been growing louder across communities, across states, even across party lines. People are realizing that immigration isn't just about politics, it's about neighbors, coworkers, classmates, and friends. It's about the nurse who cares for you in the hospital, the construction worker who builds your roads, the farm worker who helps put food on your table. These aren't strangers. They're part of the very fabric of America. And Senate Bill 2999 is finally acknowledging that reality. Now, let's talk about what it could mean in real terms. If this bill moves forward and passes, millions of immigrants could see a pathway to legal status open up. That means being able to apply for work permits without fear, being able to travel without the risk of not coming back, being able to plan for the future with confidence instead of anxiety. Imagine the difference that would make for families. Parents would no longer have to worry about being separated from their children. Students could apply to college, pursue careers, and chase their dreams without barriers. Workers could finally feel secure knowing that the jobs they're doing are protected by law. It's the kind of stability that many people have dreamed about for years, but never believed could actually happen. And here's the emotional truth. This bill isn't just about paperwork. It's about dignity. It's about finally being seen, recognized, and valued for what you contribute to this country. Too often, immigrants are treated like they're invisible, like their voices don't matter. Senate Bill 2999, if passed, would be a powerful statement from the United States saying, "We see you. We value you. You belong here." That's not just politics, that's humanity. But as powerful as this all sounds, I want to be real with you. Passing a bill like this is not going to be easy. There will be opposition, there will be debates, and there will be setbacks. Some lawmakers will use fear as a weapon, trying to convince the public that helping immigrants means harming others. But history tells us that change often comes when people refuse to give up, when communities raise their voices together and demand to be heard. That's why it's so important for immigrants and their allies to stay informed, stay engaged, and keep pushing for what's right. Now, I know some of you might be wondering, what are the chances of this bill actually passing? And honestly, no one can predict the future. But here's what we do know. The momentum is real. The conversations are happening. And millions of people are paying attention like never before. Every time a story is shared, every time a community speaks out, the pressure grows. Lawmakers are realizing that they can't ignore this issue forever. And that's why this moment feels different. It feels like we're closer than ever to real change. So what does that mean for you, watching this right now? It means this is the time to stay engaged. If you're an immigrant or you care about immigrants, you need to stay informed about what's happening in Congress. You need to talk to your community, your friends, your family. You need to make your voice heard. Because the truth is, change doesn't just come from politicians, it comes from people like you, standing together, demanding a better future. And here's another reality. Even if Senate Bill 2999 faces challenges, every step forward matters. Every discussion in Congress, every headline in the news, every story shared online, it all builds momentum. It all pushes the conversation further. And even if the path isn't perfect, every push forward brings us closer to a future where immigrants no longer live in fear, but live with dignity and security. So, here's what I want you to remember. This bill is more than just politics. It's about people. It's about families. It's about millions of lives that could be transformed overnight. And whether or not this specific bill passes, the fight for immigrant rights is not going away. Because once you shine a light on injustice, you can't go back to ignoring it. And right now, that light is shining brighter than ever. So stay with me. Because throughout this video, we're going to keep breaking down not only what's inside Senate Bill 2999, but also what's happening behind the scenes in Congress, what the timeline looks like, and what you can do to make sure your voice is part of this conversation. Because at the end of the day, this isn't just about 10 million immigrants, it's about the future of America itself. And the question is, what kind of country do we want to be?